Well guys, this is a video I honestly never thought I'd be making, and it definitely wasn't planned before this event. However, I really think that we need to break down the three tours, the Kanto tour, the Johto tour, and the Hoenn tour, and kind of look at them in their kind of what they included and what they didn't include, and what you got out of them and what you didn't get out of them, because I think it's really important, especially for people of all types who have been playing for the last 3 years or who have just picked up the game and this was their first event, because I definitely think that there is a very big difference between each of the three events, and I want to kind of look at that now, and maybe at some point ever in the future, maybe Niantic will see this video and actually consider some of the things that I am saying, and also look at the comment section, because I know you guys have very strong opinions on this. So I do want to know what you have to say. It's okay to disagree. You may completely disagree with everything that I say, or you may completely agree with everything that I say, or somewhere in between. It's completely fine, but I really think that this is a kind of a thing that we need to talk about, because this is one of the big events of the year. I would say Go Fest, Community Days, and the tours are probably three of the biggest kind of things that happen in this game every year, and I really think that we need to talk about this, especially before Go Fest 2023, because if Go Fest 2023 is anything remotely like this event, I can tell you right now I won't be playing it. So without further ado, let me go ahead and kind of break down the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Pokemon Go tours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of put some information up on the screen to my side here and kind of go through the information for all three of the tours. Now, I do need to kind of make this disclaimer now. The paid ticket tours, or the paid ticketed versions of the Kanto and the Johto tours, were completely different than the Hoenn tour, and the Hoenn tour really, honestly, was just a completely free event, because the ticketed version had nothing to do with the actual gameplay during the event or the event hours, whereas the Kanto ticket and the Johto ticket actually directly impacted your Pokemon that were spawning, and also impacted the shinies and all sorts of things that you got as extra bonuses. So let's now go through the three different tours, and I'm just going to give you a breakdown for the cost of each one and kind of the information on it. So starting with the Kanto tour was a one-day event. However, it was a 12-hour event from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The ticketed version of the event was $11.99. The Johto tour was the exact same thing. It was a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and the ticket for that was also $11.99. However, this year with the Hoenn tour, we had something different. We had a 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. event, which was roughly 8 hours. However, it was actually spread out over 2 days. A total of 16 hours, you could say, for the event. And there was a ticketed version of it for $4.99. However, it has nothing to do with the actual kind of Pokemon spawning or anything like that. So honestly, I'm just gonna say that the event was free completely. Now moving on to what you got from the ticketed versus non-ticketed versions of the event. For the Kanto tour, the ticket got you 2 extra free community day tickets for the January and the February community days if you bought the ticket in advance. And they actually sold these tickets, like, I think it was like 2 months in advance or something like that. You were able to purchase these. You also got extra candy for catching Kanto tour Pokemon. All right, and the free version of the event allowed you to have increased trade range. There was a special timed research, and then of course there were the 4 legendaries that were in the raids: Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno, and Mewtwo. Now from this Kanto tour event, I got a grand total of 27 shinies. So that is, for a 12-hour event, 27 shinies. In 1 hour alone, I picked up 6 shinies. Literally the last hour of the event, I just walked home from where I was playing and I picked up 6 shinies. So that is a pretty good indicator of how increased the shiny odds were, how many there were spawning, and how lucky I was during that event. Now, if we move over to the Johto tour, what you got for the paid versus the free version. For the free version of the Johto tour, you got Corsola and Heracross raids. You got 6 special trades for the day. You also got the 5 legendaries in raids. So more legendaries, more special trades, which was probably one of the best parts about the event, was being able to trade the shinies and the legendaries you picked up during the event. All right, and then you also had Corsola and Heracross available for you to catch and trying to get the shinies, but I unfortunately did not get that. Now moving on to what was in the paid ticketed version of the Johto tour, and this is what's really important. All right, we got 3 free remote raid passes, we got 1/4 hatch egg distance, we got 2 times hatch candy, we got extra Johto candy for catching Pokemon. There were 9 free local passes, so 3 free remote passes, 9 free local passes from spinning the gyms during the event, and also there was increased shiny odds for 18 Pokemon. Now for this event, I got a grand total of 16 shinies for the day, and I think it was mostly because I sat in one place and didn't really move around that much, and it was something that I've regretted from that. In addition to the shinies and all those other goodies, there were also the special research that came along with it, where you got the shiny Celebi, you got the Apex Shadow Ho-Oh, and Apex Shadow Lugia. All right, so you got a lot of really good Pokemon from it. Now let's talk about the Hoenn tour, and for this one, I'm gonna be real honest, I don't have very many pleasant things to say. Besides the fact that it was free and everybody could take part in it, there were the Pokemon in raids, there were the Pokemon spawning in the wild, and it was kind of just a free-for-all, and that was it. So first up for the Hoenn tour, obviously we had the Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon raids going on. We also have Rayquaza going on before and after the event hours. It's obviously, it is what it is, right? The $4.99 ticket had nothing to do with the in-game event hours. So that aside, you're gonna get a shiny Jirachi, but that's it. All right, so compared to the Johto, we got way better things from the ticket version of the Johto tour than we did the Hoenn tour, because the Hoenn tour, let's be real, you paid $5 for a shiny Jirachi. Like that's really what you got. There were no increased shiny odds, there was no kind of event bonuses like hatch distance being reduced or candy being increased or anything like that. It was bare bones minimum. It was kind of like a community day for Hoenn Pokemon. I mean, let's be real. It wasn't even really community day, because community day gives you increased shiny odds, and let's be real, increased shiny odds weren't a thing. And while I know many people picked up a lot of shinies, I've seen multiple reports of people getting 20 Pokemon a day that were shiny, so a grand total of 30 to 40 shinies for the entire event across 2 days. I've also seen people who played for 8 hours and got 1 shiny. And I fall a little bit closer to the second one of that, which is I only picked up 4 shinies my first day and 6 shinies my second day. That being said, I was at a park, I was walking around lured Pokestops, I had incense on, and I was shiny checking every single Pokemon that spawned in. I got 4 shinies my first day for 7 hours of walking, because the first hour, if you caught it, I streamed. And I wanted to kind of show you guys the event and do some raids. So for 7 hours of literally non-stop walking, because I didn't stop for lunch, all I stopped was to get some water and to kind of sit down and do raids. For 7 hours of the event, I got 4 shinies for the first day and 6 for the second. And I actually kind of gave up yesterday and just went home and ended up catching 2 shinies just sitting at home, which made me really mad, because I just lured my home Pokestop and I got a shiny just sitting off of that, whereas I walked around a park for 7 hours and only got 4 shinies. So now, like I said, some of you got really lucky, some of you did not get lucky, and you know, it's 2 sides of the same coin. All right, some people just have that luck, some people don't. But compared to previous events where ticketed holders would get increased shiny odds, especially for Johto with 18 Pokemon having increased shiny odds, frankly, I'm just really disappointed in this event and the time and energy that a person has to actually put into it to get the return that would make it even fun or worthwhile for them. Because I literally went home on Saturday and I was just like, do I even want to play on Sunday? Because I was so frustrated and angry at all the time and energy that I'd put into it for literally nothing. Now, with the Hoenn tour, and I think it's just really important to talk about this because not everybody is able to pay money to play the game and to get raid passes. And I see this a lot. Some people, a lot of my viewers aren't able to spend $5, $10, $20 on raid passes, let alone buy the event ticket. So when they go out and they do these raids during the event, and you have research that requires you to catch a Kyogre or to catch a Groudon, and you not only make those Pokemon extremely difficult to take down, but you also make it so it's harder to catch them because there are less Pokeballs, and you have these lower level players that are going to be stuck on these catch Kyogre, catch Groudon tasks with this research for who knows how long. quite frankly, I think it's not fair for them, because if I were a non-pay-to-play player, and if I did not have the amount of green passes that I have from the game, mostly from referral rewards, which actually aren't even me paying for it, it's you guys just using my referral code, I would not have been able to do the number of raids that I did. And let me just tell you, I did about 60 raids from the start of Rayquaza on Wednesday until technically yesterday, doing Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza. I spent a lot of money on remote passes, hosting raids and inviting people to raids and doing the raids myself and you know, accepting invites and stuff like that. For those 60 raids, my return was trash. I caught one shiny Pokemon, and then I got a 98 Rayquaza during raid hour. Nothing else. The highest Groudon Kyogre I caught was a 93 for 60 raids. And I really want to emphasize this. Something has changed in Pokemon Go. It used to be that if you did, you know, raids with friends and you did maybe 10 raids, one person out of a group of 10 people would probably get a shiny maybe like 6 or 7 of those times. Not necessarily you, but 6 to 7 people would probably get a shiny from those 10 raids. And I say that because I used to stream raid hours and we used to always be like, oh, I got a shiny, oh, I got a shiny, oh, I got a shiny, which is fantastic. Recently, I have noticed, even if we do 10 to 15 raids, only maybe 1 or 2 people get shinies. And I don't know if Niantic has actually acknowledged the fact that the shiny odds seem to be reduced, but to do 50 to 60 raids and get 1 shiny for as much money as it costs, it's really frustrating. And again, I say this because I know there are other people that have gotten multiple shinies back to back and stuff like that, but the experience is not equal across the board. And for those of us that are really getting the short end of the stick, which is me and probably quite a lot of other people, it makes the game really frustrating. I know one person who did over 100 Rayquaza raids before they got their first shiny Rayquaza. 100 Rayquaza raids, all right, guys, to get a shiny Rayquaza. There is a problem with this situation and the fact that people are paying so much money to encounter these Pokemon and having really bad returns. Now, I do want to add, I don't want to make this entire video just basically hating on the Hoenn tour. I do want to offer kind of some pieces of advice for Niantic or to anyone going forward in the future with the future events. If the event doesn't have good research spawns or good egg spawns or reduced egg distances, if you're going to put special Pokemon in 10-kilometer eggs or even 12-kilometer eggs, be wary, because I think one of the most disappointing things is I was expecting something special from the special spooky research, and really it was just disappointing. It was Pokemon that I didn't personally care for too much. And I'm sure, and this is where I say everybody has their own opinion. Some of you probably love Shuppet or Sableye or Ninjask or whatever the other Pokemon were. I personally was not super thrilled to see them. I feel like something like that event was definitely much more suited for Halloween. And I thought it was just like weird and didn't really fit with the event as a whole. Because it was just fill out the ciphers and figure out what these tasks are. Make that have to do something with Halloween. It has nothing to do with this event. So overall, I think Niantic needs to consider the fact that people want to see, or at least I would like to see, increased shiny odds, especially for people who go out and actually buy a ticket, or at least offer a ticket that does provide increased shiny odds like the previous 2 tours. The other thing I would like to see is better research Pokemon, because again, we also had Mudkip making its appearance quite a bit in this event, and to be fair, we had a Mudkip community day last year. We did not need Mudkip to be featured in research. Yes, I get it's a starter Pokemon, but I think the majority of us at this point have either gotten a shiny or gotten a decent one, and if you haven't, okay, well, I get that it needs to spawn because it's a part of the event. However, at the same time, like, come on, we've had big events with this Pokemon. It doesn't need to be in research. It doesn't need to be a heavy focus. And I was just frankly overall disappointed with the kind of, there was no special bonuses during the event. There was no reduced hatch distance. There was no 2 times candy or no 2 times dust in addition to weather boosting or anything like that. And Again, these are just suggestions and things that I think that Niantic should definitely consider in the future. I love the fact that everybody had access to kind of the base part, which was all the Pokemon spawning, the special raids. However, there was really nothing to make this event even better than a community day. In my opinion, community days are far better than the Hoenn tour was. And that's simply because there's always some type of bonus, whether it's candy or dust or XP or hatch distance, or there's also the increased shiny odds of the Pokemon. Yeah, honestly, this ranks far below a community day for me in terms of the event as a whole. I like the fact that it was 2 days. I do miss the longer community days. I hate the fact that community days are 3 hours now, because not everybody can be free for just those 3 hours. I like longer events because people can take a moment, they can go get lunch, they can do other things with their day, rather than just being available for 3 hours during those events. So I do like the fact that it was 2 days. I do like the fact that it was a longer event. There was technically more time for people to actually engage in it. However, they just fell short when it came to kind of bonuses. And there you have it. That is kind of the good and the ugly, because there's not really a bad tour. I would say that there were 2 great tours. There was the Kanto and the Johto tour, which I thought, honestly, I didn't have anything bad to say about either of those 2 tours. I will say that the Hoenn tour was disappointing and lackluster and frustrating. And I can't even imagine people who don't have the same opportunities that I have for in terms of rating and resources. And I just quite frankly feel disappointed. And I think that Niantic has a long way to go to improve the next big event. And go ahead and drop your comments down below, because I'm sure you guys are gonna have a lot to say about this video. And I really do want to see what you guys think of the event. And for those of you that have played all 3 events, which one was your favorite? Because I can definitely say, I mean, I think just for nostalgia, Kanto Tour was probably my favorite. I got the most amount of shinies, I had the most fun raiding and doing the event, and it was a really great experience, whereas this one, unfortunately, was just disappointing. And hopefully with that, we will see some major improvements before GoFest 2023, or even next year's tour, whatever that's going to be, because honestly, right now, I don't even want to think about it. So I guess with that, guys, I will leave you to it, and I will catch you in the next one.